It makes sense, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, like I say, or like he says, if he'd have known then what he knows now, he could have basically got that, like the ultimate law says that a judge can shoot someone.
Yeah.
Who's making an act of war.
It's incredible, really, that could happen.
It is, absolutely, yeah, but all these treaties have all been, done and dusted, and that one comes from, I think it's the Vienna Treaty of 1907, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I've looked for it, I haven't found it, but it became the Lieber Code in America.
Don't know anything about that.
That's all to do with, war crimes,
Right, okay.
And we have got a couple in England. I think it might be called the War Crimes Act or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got them to hand. I can probably find it though. Hang on. Yeah, so I'm listening to it going, holy crap, this guy's actually, realised more than the guy who sent me the email.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm listening to it and I'm going, that's perfect. I'll pop it into the group and get Dave running on it.
Right.
So I popped it into a couple of the groups and I said, are you hearing what I'm hearing? And Tell, who was on TNS last night with Batman and Boris, or Nightwing, he went, that's immaculate, that's perfect. So we could see all the reasons why, and we started chatting with Batman and Boris and some of the others, and the depth of knowledge in law was just, supreme,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work, doesn't it? It takes many hours.
Well, it's took Batman 20 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I know, I think this was the conscious decision that I made last year. I was like, if I'm not in a position to sit down and learn it all, I don't want to have to rely on templates. I don't want to just put my name on a notice of intent or a notice of understanding or anything like that.
Yeah, you want it to come from the heart, don't you?
Exactly, that's the point. I mean, we've both seen it. Many of us have seen it. People making pages and pages and pages till they get to 20 or 30 pages, and you're thinking, are you serious? I mean, how are you gonna explain that if you had to explain that in court?
But what gets me is that they go into a magistrate's court. Now let's look up at the makeup of a magistrate's court.
Mm-hmm.
They deal with maybe a parking ticket or warrant of entry or really kind of, which may not be menial to people who are dealing with the things, but certainly ain't crimes of murder or
exactly.
bank robberies or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it may start at the magistrates, but the magistrates knows, by the case whether they're equipped to handle it,
Yeah.
So someone comes in with an international commercial claim, all notarized and all like that. A magistrate isn't going to know what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And 9 times out of 10, the people, or more, 999 times out of 1,000, the people who are coming in with these international commercial claims don't know what to do with it either.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. That's the way it is, yeah.
So they cannot stop, they're failing to stop the court at that juncture. Mm-hmm. And the court's proceeding because the solicitor's moving the court forward correctly.
Yeah.
And the judgment goes against the people. Yeah, and they're like, oh God, I've done all this and that, and it's not working, but it's nothing to do with it doesn't work. It does work if you know what the friggin' hell you're doing.
They're just in the wrong place.
What?
They're just in the wrong place or the wrong jurisdiction or something.
Yeah, no disrespect to the people that have done it.
Mm.
But they're not understanding the power of the things that they've got.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They've created a security.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to do certain things where you'd have to do assignments and give notice, and there's certain procedures to follow when you've designated the security, which is, someone's holding collateral of that security. You've got the contract, which is the security agreement, and you want to float it on the securities market. What are you doing going into a magistrate's court when you've got this, like, super duper claim finalised and done and dusted, and you're getting wiped in a magistrate's court? It's kind of like Muhammad Ali walking into a little kid's school and getting bopped on the nose,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, a super finely tuned machine like that wouldn't really know what to do.
So you have to find a big court that deals with, I mean, you mentioned Chancery before. There's Chancery Court, there's a Chancery Court in London, isn't there?
There's loads of circuit courts, yeah.
Alright, okay. So
Yeah.
this would be something that a circuit court would deal with?
No, it's commercial. It'd be like, it's administrative. It wouldn't even need. It's been done and dusted when it gets notarized.
Oh yeah, 'cause that's the private side, isn't it?
Exactly. But because the people aren't given due notice into the public about it,
Yep, that's it.
they're not doing the assignment of the debt. So they're not seeing it through. They're not creating the correct paperwork where they can go into the court and go, get real.
Yeah.
And the magistrate's going to go, okay, yeah, case dismissed. There's not even a case here. It's already been over.
Yeah, I remember last year, people, I think from a group I was in, the current aim was to try and get the private, judgment in the public jurisdiction, and trying to get a judge to actually do that. And I think obviously one of them sort of succeeded in doing it, but it wasn't meant to have happened that way, and it then created problems for other people trying to repeat that process.
Yeah, you'd have to do an assignment, and you'd have to give notice of the assignment to offer it to the public to see if anyone's got, a lean position ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's where people have fallen down.
I suppose it's like standing on the top of a hill and saying, I'm going to put my flag in this hill because I quite like to stay here. Is there anyone else in the area that's got a claim on this hill?
Well, kind of, yeah, but it has to be registered notice.
Yeah, I know it's a completely different issue,
No, it's very similar. The fact of you going on top of a hill and putting a flag on top of there is giving notice.
Yeah.
And is it adequate notice?
No, not just the flag. You would have to specify your intent, won't you?
Well, you'd have to inform the authorities. You'd have to offer it to the public. Has anyone claimed this hill? Because I want to put my flag there and stay there. You can't just stand on top of a hill and wave your flag and say, I claim this, because the police will just come and remove you.
Yeah, exactly.
But once you've given notice into the public with the registered notice, now you've got something to say, well, I actually gave notice. Look, there's the certificate or the receipt I got from the local council to say that I've given notice, and probably nationally as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like the London Gazette, I think, is the correct method.
Yeah, I'll have to, I'm due for a catch-up conversation with Dom about the Freeman eco-village stuff. And, when him and Phil came up to visit us in the northeast, we were wandering around a local town near me looking for sites, and we popped into the solicitors and we picked up some information about trusts. So it definitely looks like the angle that anyone involved in trying to set up eco villages on disused or abused corporate land, trusts looks like the way that those guys are going to try and find a remedy on that front.
Well, the thing is, you see, the trust is already in effect.
I suppose if they land and they set up camp, and their sole purpose is to improve the local community, improve the site to the benefit of them and the local community, then you could say that is that what you mean by they've already created a trust just by showing the intent?
Yes and no. That wasn't the where I was going with it.
Yeah.
Basically, like the trust has already been set up with the Crown from
yeah.
You know,
So you mean,
from the birth certificate, whatever. So when someone comes in and makes a claim on land, they're actually starting to meddle in corporate business where they've got no place meddling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, what they could sort of experiment with or explore is having the use of something. So, you know, they would write to the local council and probably the Ministry of, like, the Environment or something, like saying, you know, we're peaceful inhabitants, we just want to enhance the property.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to remain peaceful and we want to do this, like, you see, because it's all, like, linked to banking, they'll be saying, well, what's your collateral? What have you got to offer as a security for us to know that you're not going to leave the property in worse condition than it was?
Yeah.
Which was like the lawyers with Lisa Marie Presley. You know, they've got to invest the trust collateral to make more money by way of securities for the fund. But they can't dip their hands in the fund. So if the fund is the land and Dom and the guys there, they go onto the land, they can't dip into the land and make it worse than it was.
Yeah.
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 So what's their collateral? Well, the collateral could be, you know, they've got ideas, which are intangible assets.
Mm-hmm.
They've got, you know, people who can perform and can do and are willing to share the stuff with the community and not be selfish and keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
Sort of like build up evidence of a good case type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because holding court isn't necessarily the legal court. We're kind of holding court now, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's definitely worth thinking about. I mean,
yeah. So if they say, like, they find, like, you know, a warehouse with some land around it and it's obviously abandoned, if you like, or not being used, and they sort of write to the people who, like, own the property and say, look, we want to use this, then they're going to be saying, well, how are you going to pay for it?
Yeah.
You know, that's the first question. And they say, well, what we can do is we can offer you some produce from the stuff that we're going to create.
Yep.
So there's something in return.
Consideration, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, start finding out where the people can go with it, because at commerce, they're kind of bound with money, but when you speak to people, you know, you can open up some areas of negotiation.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So my advice my suggestion, like my idea would be to bring the parties involved, like the Department of the Environment or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The local council, and maybe petition some of the people. You know, would the people in the area enjoy, or would they see it as being like a nuisance to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.